Let me start with thought for the day. Most smiles are started by another smile. मुस्कुराते भी नहीं हो. चलो, let me give another try. मैं बोला ना बड़ा difficult है speaking at 2 o'clock. So let me try and see. चलिए. At least the first part is achieved. We could smile. Moving away from smile, let me come to the hardcore subject, packaging, which is very close to my heart also. And that is one area, even in our company, we focus. We are a company which are present in over 40 countries, and we manage same quality of packaging across the world. We do not have dual packaging standard, a standard different for India, different for Asia, or different for Europe, or different for America. A company which takes pride in managing the same quality standards. And that is the reason I say packaging has got only two functions, which is innovation and innovation. Unfortunately, the word is great, but the innovation is missing. When I talk to my team or to suppliers or to people around of innovation, the response is, sir, इसका gauge कम कर देते हैं, इसकी strength कम कर देते हैं. That is not innovation, that is reducing the product quality. जो चाय का डब्बा आज से 8 साल पहले जिस तरह से हम बंद करते थे, अभी भी वैसे ही बंद होता है, unless I travel to US or to Europe, वहां से किसी कंपनी का सैंपल लेके आऊं और अपने यहां साथियों को दिखाएं. Even the basic improvements or innovations what we are talking about is missing. The big question is why and how can we change it? I'm really so excited with this kind of a conference because normally I am attending conference on HR, marketing, leadership, but never seen a conference on packaging. I'm delighted. At the same time, when we are talking to graduates coming from IIP or Indian Institute of Packaging, I would say that's the area again the curriculum needs to be revised. It has to be more modernized. It has to be made fit for purpose. A person coming out from IIPM should come as a confident manager, not as a packaging chemist. Now let me move forward. How we can innovate, how can we put some energy behind the packaging? What is critical for business? People talk about marketing, people talk about sales. Yes, all are important. But can you do sales without having the right packaging? What is the first contact between a customer and you? It's your packaging. It's not the product quality. And before that, it's your people. So if your people are excited, your packaging will be better. If your packaging is better, your product will perform in the market. I talk as 4 Ps. Your people have to be excited. Your packaging certainly will be great. And of course, your product then will perform in the market. Most of the success stories, what you see in the market, is driven by packaging. It's like cinema. It's the song that makes the difference. लेकिन जो गाता है उसका आज तक पता नहीं रहता. Same is the case in the packaging. I suppose time to recognize the experts in the packaging field also. The way it has been done in advertisement, marketing, sales, finance, HR, everywhere, I suppose time has come to start the packaging awards also. Supplier and buyer relationship. I suppose time has gone to work as one. We are working with some of our buyers or suppliers like that. We don't believe in increasing the prices. We believe in working together in a win-win situation. Because otherwise the relationship will not survive for long. A question is how to create a spark in the team, in the packaging side. What we little bit do in our company is we empower our team in a real way. Our packaging team, I've got a packaging manager sitting here. They are empowered to do what they like to do. They are not focusing on cost reduction only. They are focusing on rationalizing the cost, making sure the product meets the international standards always. And the key is they work like entrepreneurs. They work like it's their own company. We do not have senior-junior relationship. Rewards and recognition is done on an immediate basis. It's like roti, tawa garam hota hai jab seki jati hai. There is no point in rewarding a person at the end of the year when the appraisal system is being done. We award people instantaneously, gold coins, 5,000 rupee checks, all these things done on an instantaneous basis on a regular. Even a senior supervisor is authorized to sign a check of 500 or 1,000 rupees. There are certain limits for immediate recognition to the people. An hour a day away from laptops and routine. We have got the bowling machine, cricket you can play in the company, table tennis and different areas. An hour a day, move away from there. And you know what I'm saying? Initially people thought I'm an idiot. We are wasting time, money and energy for the company. The best of the ideas people are bringing when they are playing cricket, using the bowling machine, using playing table tennis. That's the time people are coming back with great ideas. That's a big surprise for many, but that's a fact which we have realized on a regular basis. Clear process to recognize real innovations. And of course, the most important part, the real innovations don't come from managers. We are comfortable, good for nothing. And I raise my hand first. The real innovations come from grassroots level people, provided we give both the ears to them. The problem is, our tongue is working most of the time. And you know what happens when tongue is working? Your mind rests. So best is at the grassroots level. If it is a factory, let the worker decide. He will come up with the best ideas, give the ears to him the recognition. If you are in sales, let the salesman decide, because he is the one who is going to the end consumer or the retail. And same is in the packaging. It's not the packaging consultant. It is not the packaging expert, but it is the person who is managing the packaging at the grassroots level. Few simple things which certainly should add fire in the belly of the tea. ये भी गर्मी में आगे नहीं जा रहा धीरे. See the innovations. If you have got spark, these are real pictures. The one is from Indonesia and this is from Belgium. These are real pictures. हम घर में कोई बोल देंगे भाई दूध पिला रहा है यार, बियर कैसे पीएंगे? नहीं, पहले दूध पिला देता हूँ फिर बियर पी सकता हूँ. ये देखिए बियर पी सकते हैं आप. More on the lighter side, but the message I want to say is, my friends, if the heart is in the right place, if your focus is in the right place, there is nothing which we cannot do. As Deepak said, अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं. They will not come just because Mr. Modi has come. We all need to play our role much more importantly, much more correctly. We need to be making sure the environment what is coming forward for us, the future which is awaiting us, we grab them. And the only way to grab is making sure we innovate. And innovation can only come with a lot of passion and a lot of focus. Thank you so much for your patient listening. And if you've got any questions, I'll be too happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Krishan. That was short and sweet. And I think it has set the tone basically that innovations can come from anywhere in the organization. The innovations which can appear from grassroots levels within an organization can probably be the most effective. So that's the inspiration that we should take out of this, besides the fact that there should be empowerment and they should be fit for purpose, people who actually are equipped for a job and can perform it well. So these are some of the, this is a roadmap for the way efficient packaging and supply chain can work. So we will move on to, from here we will move on to our first panel discussion. But before we release Mr. Krishan Gupta from the dais, I'd like to hand over a small memento on our behalf. For the next session, which gets on to the nuts and bolts of this conclave, we are talking of the role of packaging, design and innovation in the business enterprise. For this session, I'd like to invite Mr. S.N. Venkataraman to come over to the dais and moderate the session for us. Mr. Venkataraman is the Vice President Marketing with ITC's Paperboards and Specialty Papers Division. Venki, as he is popularly called, is responsible for sales and marketing of this business, which under his leadership has emerged as one of the largest paper and paperboard suppliers in South Asia. Recently, at the World Bank Congress Summit, he was awarded the 50 Most Talented CMOs of India citation. Today, ITC PSPD has got the widest range of products catering from FMCG to pharma and various niche sectors like liquid packaging and publishing. He has been with ITC for over 20 years since graduating in business administration. Venki, in his previous assignment, headed the international business where he created a mark for ITC by exporting to more than 30 countries across Europe, South Africa, Southeast Asia, Middle East and Africa, competing with some of the world's best paper companies. ITC PSPD in the last 10 years has won various awards for its export performance, including Capexil's Top Export Award, which it won for 7 years in a row. In addition to his overall marketing responsibilities, Venki also spearheads sustainable packaging and new product development initiatives. Venki's other passions include finding out what makes teens tick, something you can explore with Mr. Krishan Gupta also, and travel and exploring and the digital world and building the necessary connections to further sustainable packaging. So I'd like to hand over the dais to Mr. Venkataraman.
Good afternoon. It's good to be back here again. It's 1 year since we met in JP Green, so many faces are familiar, but like Mr. Manchanda mentioned, there are many new participants too. Among the panelists, I count my customers and some of my vendors also. Okay, so there is change in the air, अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं, but all of us have to see how to get benefit out of these days and see that it's really good. We had a very charged up presentation by Mr. Krishan Gupta, who stressed on innovation in the business enterprise and how he has created standards and empowered people. Okay, the topic for the first session is pack design and innovation in the business enterprise. And I think this came out of discussions last year when we concluded the packaging conclave last year. There was a lot of focus on graphic design and what it does in terms of awareness, brand building and consumer connect. And the larger industrial ecosystem and how pack design plays a part in that got slightly missed out. So this time the backdrop is, as in a program excellently designed by Mr. Manchanda, the role of pack design in the larger connected enterprise and also through the supply chain. So in a kind of way, it's about pack design or package design. What is the apt word? I mean, to me, the word package actually brings the interconnected linkages. Because pack design seems to focus only on an individual pack, whereas package design would mean that it's part of a larger system. So there is a primary pack, there is a secondary pack, there is transportation, there is warehousing, there is storage, there are manufacturing operations, and there's automation linking a lot of these areas. So package design actually I think carries a bit more relevance to the topic that will be explored by us today through the panelists. If you look at the environment in which pack design operates or supply chain operates, there are actually more than one set of designers. So you have the graphic artists and the people who ideate and the creative people who actually come out with designs, a lot of which is based on shape or color, texture and stuff like that. It has to get translated into some 3+ workflow and then come onto a pack. There is also this interconnection which happens. There is a primary pack, for example, which would have been designed to some dimensions and satisfies a particular brand in food, pharma or in FMCG, and you introduce a new variant. So what happens to the secondary and tertiary packaging through which the product flows ultimately to the wholesaler, to the distributor, to the retailer and to the consumer? So there are many touch points in this entire area. And there are more than one set of designers. So there are the graphic artists, then there are the people who actually translate it onto bringing it in here. There are the people who are involved in supply chain and the design operating through the supply chain, which is the factories, the operations, the transportation, and the warehousing, till the final point that reaches the consumer. There's a larger design which is operating there. And then the people who manage the workflow underneath, which is the design for operability or manufacturability which is there. So I think there are more than one set of designers, the 3 sets of designers, and unless in any new product introduction or brand introduction, all these 3 sets of designers work together, you are not going to have the supply chain productivity and efficiencies that we actually want to realize. So we have to move from what I call as component-based thinking as a single brand or pack to a systems-based thinking. And most companies don't have that. I mean, because we have packaging engineers or packaging scientists who are coming out of IIP. You have people now who give certificate and diploma programs in supply chain, and that field is actually growing. You have retail developing as a major area in India today, and modern format retail already accounts for close to 7-8% of the goods, and there's a lot of technology and association that the retail enterprises are bringing. There's a Retail Association of India, they conduct seminars, and they also look at what role packaging plays and how the supply chain is organized. So all these things have to actually come together, so you need actually systems thinking. And in any organization you go today, you don't have somebody who connects it all together. You'll have a separate supply chain manager, you're going to have separate packaging teams, and you have separate marketing and product management or brand management teams. So that's an area to think. So I think this is where the emphasis is different from what we did last year in this conclave. Now, this guy, Steve Jobs, all of us know. What is the success of Apple? You know, today we all live in businesses and we benchmark ourselves with our competitors. And we look at what can give us competitive advantage. So many companies say that their brand management routines give them a competitive advantage. Some others say that their supply chain efficiencies are very high and they have discovered the knack of reaching to the last mile, or they cover 2 million retail outlets and that gives them the advantage. Now Steve Jobs, in how he came out, I mean what he did with Apple, actually lived at the intersection of, you know, what you can say, the cultural side and also the engineering side. And his unique ability was the ability to translate it into product design and also packaging design and also into store design and also into a design for how people consume entertainment, which is what iTunes and the rest of the stuff is about. So he was a grand designer. So I must tell you that design in general actually is a much more lasting source of competitive advantage than anything else. And as Krishan Gupta mentioned, what the consumer sees is the pack, but at the moment of truth, what he remembers is the pack design. So design is actually the last source of competitive advantages. And I think there are studies in business management and enterprise. I think the UK Design Council, I think, compared 150 companies between 1994 and 2004. And they found that companies which had reached a higher level of maturity in design or paid a higher emphasis on design actually outperformed the stock market by as much as 260%. And even when there was a recession, these companies hardly decreased in terms of their market value. They might have declined to some degree, but they were able to maintain some growth. So that brings the importance of design and the interconnectedness of the whole aspect. So the chart on the right hand side shows, between marketing potential, the standard, and customization vis-a-vis the logistical costs. So I think that is something that we would like to explore in today's discussion as to how these things are connected together and how, without compromising on innovation, also achieve a balance. So I think the challenge for pack designers is going to be, when they marry with innovation, that they have to present a business case. You launch a new product, that is a business case. You employ an agency, you do market research, you present a case saying that within so and so period you'll grow so much and you anticipate so much higher revenue and you anticipate so much higher profits. I think pack design has to follow the same kind of routine. Anything that you do new in design, which is integrated along with the product launch and which is a change in, say, the pack design and which is also innovative, can be estimated in the same manner as to what is it going to do in terms of creating extra awareness, some loyalty measures, some initial trial users measures or repeat user measures, which would be the revenue side. At the same time, you're going to run it through the cost side and see whether it's adding to complexity or it is going to fit in well. Does it kind of increase the dispersion in terms of cost and handling, or is it going to sit well, and what it does. And I think business cases like this can be built up. So I think that's the next new dimension as far as pack design and packaging is concerned. So this is the world in which design choices are. So there are market signals. Some of them are like demand for certification, be it for health hygiene or be it for sustainability or something like that, or be it even for carbon as an energy intensity. You have to lower impacts. So you can actually start with the brand. So there's image perception and the consumer connect. There's distribution where there's transport efficiency and product loss. There's retail where you can't lose out on the shelf appeal or the shelf life. And then you have finally the waste discard and the recovery which goes along with it. So there has to be design which is married as in design for manufacturing, design for operations, and design for recyclability. I mean, among all brands and products exist in some major product categories. So from our experience, I just went into some of these categories and tried to show what could be the influences. Sustainability is playing a larger and larger role with at least the larger branded companies. People are more conscious today. And there's an element of counterfeiting which is always there, which invades successful brands, and therefore pack design has to contribute in some way to make it unique. One of my panelists was describing about a new system Esko Graphics has, which is about a 7-color system which increases the color gamut, and therefore a company has adopted it because it makes its packaging stand out even more in the shelf life and also provides a weapon against counterfeiting. Food and beverage, I mean, you're getting a new wide variety of dispensing and delivery system and processing systems. Health and safety is becoming very important. So we'll have Mr. Harveer Sahni who's here, and the Amitabh of the labeling industry in India, talking about how labeling has evolved in India and how it contributes also to better pack design. Waste reduction, of course, is a key in food and beverage because you have a lot of laminate packs and your single-serve packs and your multi-serve packs. Innovation in processing, filling, and then there's the end of life cycle use as to what you do with it. Pharma is highly regulated, as we know. So how do you manage when you do a new brand as one? Bulk versus small dosage is another influencer in the pack design. And then there is the tracking and tracing. I think we will get some idea of that also from some of our panelists or from the audience here, and how tracking and tracing is becoming more and more important, both on the secondary as well as on the primary packaging. And of course, there's automation in complex production lines in pharma. So any new variation that you introduce has to marry into the system well, and there has to be a balance between complexity vis-a-vis efficiency. This is just a case which I picked up from the web, so as to how one company, which actually focuses a lot on packaging for sustainability and does a lot of projects, did 37 such projects in 2013. The company is Hormel, it's a meat product company in the US. And they did the usual things. They saved the space, they removed some inserts, they improved their automation, they redesigned shipping cases, and then they went to some industry standards. So all that meant that they would save some, whatever, $200,000 or 1 million rupees. But these are all incremental savings which repeat on year after year. So this is something which from the end companies here, the brand owning companies here, is what we would like to hear to the panel. I will end with this quote, because we are all packaging and pack design people here, and we have to fight for our dollar or rupee with the guys who believe in advertising and building awareness. So this is a designer who said that advertising is the price you pay for being unoriginal. There's one example which was actually told to me by one of my converter friends. There was this confectionery bubblegum chewing gum company in India, and there are 2 brands, and the sales are going up. Let's say the brands have 20-30% market share, and after that, the confectionery bubblegum people find it difficult to push up the sales. So one team worked on one of the bubblegum brands, and bubblegums are available in strips of 6 or something across. And what they did was, since the times were tough and sugar price was going high and chicken prices were going high, they increased the space and say made it 5 and put it in the same secondary pack. In the other brand, which was supposed to be an international brand, they increased the price. They said we have done enough in terms of advertising and creating market pull and the consumer engagement, and now we have to get more money. So guess what happened after 1 year? The brand on which they did the market pull actually started dropping in sales, and the pack which got redesigned actually remained in sales or actually grew a bit. So that's the opportunity actually through pack design for companies and a little bit of innovation in the industrial enterprise. So with that, I will end my short introduction. We have 4 important panelists here. I will first call upon Mr. Amitabh Kumar from Oriflame, India, to join us in the panel. I will also call upon Mr. Harveer Sahni of Weldon Celloplast, Sandeep Bhargava of Kumar Printers, and Ms. H.S. Arun of Esko Graphics to join me here. Okay, this session is about 90 minutes, and we'll allow about 10-15 minutes, 10 minutes to each of the speakers. We want to have a lot of discussion with the audience here and take questions from you and see how the field is evolving in India. I'll begin by introducing Mr. Amitabh Kumar of Oriflame. He is a brand owner end user, and he should set actually the tone for what comes later. Amitabh is a manager packaging development Asia Pacific at Oriflame India, Swedish cosmetics company. Oriflame has been growing at 30-31% in India. Amitabh earlier worked with Nestle, 3M and Ranbaxy, and has rich experience in food, pharmaceutical, chemical, diagnostics, industrial and medical. He also has practical hands-on experience with different types of packaging material and has worked with all the leading European packaging suppliers in different sectors: DuPont for specialty film, CCL and Scanum and label, MM packaging and cartons, M&H and Sauber for molding components, and Heinz for glass components. Amitabh is a very creative, innovative and very practical approach person. So let's look at what Amitabh has to share with us. I invite Mr. Kumar.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I will just take you through few slides what exactly Oriflame, and then I want to more and more focus on. Basically, Mr. Krishan had gone and he had saying people are not focusing on innovations, and I am the person who loves to talk about the innovations. Not only the things. Yes, I agree with Mr. Krishan. In India, we are looking very less about the innovation, and we are not getting that opportunity to talk about. But very soon we are going to bring a lot of things. Could be my presentations, get you familiar with that, what we are doing here in India and what the things we are bringing from global European market to the India market. Oriflame is a company which is well known and famous with the 1.5 billion worldwide and running with 700 million products. Recently in India it's growing with the 31%, and here more and over we are in the different category. Apart this cosmetics, we are entered in the wellness product, which is one of the well-known brand, and coming future by September, October we are going to start that product here in India. Coming to the main topic, and especially I am going to discuss about the innovation. My most important thought is always we take experience from this past and we are planning for the future. And if we are working together for that, could be able to achieve the goal. Whenever we are talking for the any future plan and achieve the success of the plan, I believe most important thing is we have to focus innovation, sustainability and optimizations of the total process. Here, being a Oriflame employee, I am going to focus more and over, or Oriflame is the company which is more and over focusing on the sustainability, which is the future of organization, future of the country, or could be the future of the human being. Today we are very happy to stay here and take a breath, but tomorrow if sustainability not comes in the picture, it could be very difficult to breathe in the world. Sorry, it's going back and especially Oriflame had a very clear vision. We should have a sustainable company. Towards that direction, what exactly we are thinking and what exactly company thinks for, we should have a very green palm products which we are using as a raw material. We are the company which is using sustainable supply chain plan. We are always focusing on the FSC, and proud to say here in the India, if you count numbers of the good companies, Oriflame could be the one company who is using only FSC certified board. Same way we are using a lot of catalog, which is our first selling tool, and that catalog should be, and we are using with the FSC certified. This is the one good example where we are more and more talking about the brand. Apart brand, we are talking about the sustainability. The product family which launched not only in India, in the global way, it's certified by all big sort of the certification which is known in world as a sustainability. And all this raw material, including packaging material, is the source of the sustainable selling. And I just take you through with the future of the sustainability could be very recently start in the India, and coming future it could be going to roll out. Stone paper is the one of the good example, and could be giving you one clear vision why we are talking about the stone paper. We are talking about the sustainable market, we are talking about the innovations. If we are talking about this resource which is naturally available, could be the paper or could be poly, which is very difficult. This is the recently, not recently, 1.5 or 2 years back, it's started in the China by the help of some Nigerian guys, and this is the one of the good source which we can think in coming future in India, which is going to replace all natural source by the help of the stone, which is very readily available current situation in India. But the benefit of that, environment, saving, and on the top of that, climate. We are not using pulp, we are not doing any treatment, we are saving water, which is one of the sustainable source. In totality, if you see, when we are talking about the sustainability, it's not only packaging material. Making a packaging material from some resource is also very important. And if you are going to save the 7,480 gallon of water, it's a big resource which is talking about the sustainability. This is just a sort of example where exactly this stone paper used and how bringing innovation in the market to save not only paper with the poly also. We are talking about the high speed production, productivity improvement and ultimate end-to-end solution for the supply chain. If you are talking, this is just a concept which started in Europe, till now not implemented in India, and I had discussed this point in InnoPack last time, and this is the second point could be I am discussing here. When you are talking about the consumption and wastage of the liner, this is very simple thing. Each and everyone knows about we are using a release liner which is the silica coated, and this silica coated liner is the worst things which use 51% and coming out as the worst generation in the market. If you see the worldwide picture, it's 61%. What ultimate happened? It's created garbage, and then people bounded to think for the innovation, and only solution is recycle, reline, optimization, or finally you have to think for something innovation. how can we can optimize the things. And one concept which could be comes very soon in India, and first time we are discussing for, people are sometimes saying the technical way jumbo. Remove this silica liner, try to avoid the silica liner by the help of the any PET liner, which could be more recyclable, easy recyclable. And recently, if you see, the Everyday Nation company had already started working on that, and MDO material had come in the picture, which helps to avoid the silica coated paper and coming with the poly based liner. But another side, our thought is why we are using only one side. If we are talking about the any label substrate, we are using 50% money on the substrate and 50% on the liner, which ultimate we are going to throw out. Yes, its importance is there for the application, adhesive property and everything, but ultimate end consumer, it's thrown out. Concept is, if we can put both side liner, both side printing substrate on the one liner, could be productivity will be double. If you talk about the machinability, a lot of people have the Galax machine and other where 12 and 15 colors available, easily you can turn it out and print both sides in the one shot. In the same time, you can run this label on your application process, and overall, if we see the benefit of, we able to save 50% of the substrate, which is nothing to reduce the quality, nothing to compromise in the quality, but innovation to get a high speed, optimizations and value additions. And I believe this is just a few examples which people are very much looking, and it could be going to be a brand and innovation things in the future in India. Lot of other innovation things is there, but sorry, I had only permitted for few time. I'm not going to cover all these things in the detail, and when we will discuss here in the panel, we will talk more and more about the innovation. Again, coming back, last but not least, most important thing is to achieving any innovation or any future plan on strength of the organization. Oriflame believe in togetherness, spirit and passion. If togetherness, spirit and passion is not there, it could be very difficult to achieve anything and everything in the world. Anyone from the different background, they have passion to achieve their own field, then only can possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Amitabh, for the short presentation and sharing Oriflame's philosophy. So, sustainability and stone paper will go a long way, but these are technologies which have to develop and become more relevant actually for the business user. So, you did talk about labels and how to reduce liner consumption. And our next panelist, Mr. Harveer, who is the Bishpatama of the Indian label industry, will actually tell you about linerless label printing. So let me give a short introduction of Mr. Harveer Sahni, of Weldon Celloplast, a chemistry graduate from Punjab University. Mr. Sahni has spent over 3 decades in the pressure-sensitive labels industry. He has innovated a series of tamper-evident security labels and continuously works to customize label solutions for customers. He writes regularly for trade magazines and also delivers papers at seminars and conferences. He is a member of FINAT membership committee, and he has a blog. I am one of the subscribers of the blog, harveersahni.blogspot.com. I think he will play that apart. Basic education, DAV College, Chandigarh, BSc Chemistry, Punjab University later, and I think I went from top to down. So, Sahni, without further ado, I'll invite you to actually.
Thank you, Venki. I'm just adding to what Amitabh said on the liner part of it. Weldon already has a product where we do a single liner and label stock on both sides, label material on both sides. That's one part of the story. The second is that linerless labels are already in India. we've sold an equipment in South India. I would not mention the customer, you can ask me later, but it's already there. So instead of using a liner and two face materials, we go liner less. So all that 50% going to the landfills will not be going. So that will be a contribution towards a better environment. Okay, the presentation of course should have been very lengthy because it can be, as I told Deepak, that it should be like a book actually, but I have to fit it down all into the 10 minutes allotted to me. I hope I can do that. And coming to labels, packaging first. Nature has created its own products and their packaging. It has taken into account its shelf life and the freshness. You all know this, that it is taking care of the product till it is dispensed. Oranges, coconuts, bananas, nuts, all this. These packagings were all that was needed initially. We bought fresh and we ate fresh. Everybody knows the street sabzi wala comes and he says aloo lo, pyaz lo, and the women popping out of the windows say bhaiya ruko, and they come down and across the cart and then they're gossiping and buying vegetables. With evolution, literacy, changing lifestyles, time became a commodity in short supply. Initially it was the refrigerator that came to our help. We bought for 3-4 days, but then eventually the need to buy for a week, a fortnight or a month made packaging imperative. Packaging that could make the food last longer. Label impacts the packaging. Label is the communicative part of the packaging. It establishes identity, stirs impulses, you can pick it off the shelf. Makes the product identifiable. Without a label, it is like a needle in the haystack. The human body is also a product. How you package it every day is important. The dress and the decoration convey your personality and your state at that time. You get ready in the morning, as per your schedule for the day, you are on a different package. You come back home, you're going out for a party, you package yourself according to the evening that you're expecting. You're back again in your nightwear, another package. But still, it is the label which makes you really identifiable. Let us look at some very important figures. Oops. The labels are missing. See, the labels are missing. We can't know. Look at the hero here. You can't make out who it is. They are important people, yet unidentifiable. The face is the label. Without the face, you cannot identify. Label makes all the difference. Let's put the labels back on there and see who they were. Sachin Tendulkar, Amitabh Bachchan, Barack Obama, Manmohan Singh, and the hero there. Well, a label makes the product identifiable, gives you information on usage, price, date of manufacturing, expiry date, and a lot more. Okay. With decorations on it, it tempts you to pick it up and look at the benefits of a well-designed package. It is the first point of eye contact between the buyer and the product and the package. It is today the most important medium to market products in modern day retailing. It has to be convenient, it has to be shaped, it has to be catching the eye of the user, and it has to look good. And without a package, retailing today is, I wouldn't say impossible, but would be a very difficult task and becoming difficult day by day. I'm sure people my age all realize that we always bought wheat, whole wheat, and then took it to the neighborhood atta chakki and got it ground, and we would boast to guests who came out, it is fresh atta. And now what we do, just go buy some Ashirwad atta and then that's it. Spices, meats, pre-cooked food, veggies, and even rotis and water are all pre-packed. Only 60% of all the packaging is going to food, and the rest of it goes for general products, and there is unlimited scope. some important inputs before we design a package. We need to know and understand the product, whether it's powder, whether it's a liquid, whether it's a toy or a solid product. We need to understand the chemistry of the product. Simple reasoning. Ladies buy acetone as a nail polish remover. The formulated one is too expensive, and they buy it in an HDPE bottle. And a month later, they realize the bottle has become half, and they start thinking somebody messing around with it. But what is actually happening is HDPE is porous. The solvent has gone away. So we need to look at the chemistry of the product that's going to go into the package. Then it's a reaction with different materials so as to decide the selection: laminate, plastic, glass, tin. So the product and its chemistry has to be compatible to the package. And whether the package has a residual life. Every housewife, when she's buying, let's say, a bottle of pickle, has her eye on the container, because once the pickle is gone, that container is still going to rest in her kitchen and it's going to be used for something else. Aesthetics and shelf appeal, and adding to it, the package itself has a certain amount of advertising space on it. That's free. You're not paying through your nose to advertise. Sustainability, because we want to leave Mother Earth more friendly and delivering better things, like you said, to the generation next coming in. And it's a medium to communicate with the consumer. Packaging innovation make the kitchen or the refrigerator look good. Every housewife desires it. So somebody guest comes into the kitchen and she wants all the sauces and all the food products lying there looking good. You open a refrigerator and you want even the milk to be in a can which is probably labeled well. Label design the label has to be designed as a part of the package. You cannot make the package and then start looking at the label. You have to consider both as a unit. The space for the label has to be designated. Everybody traveling in the airlines realizes that you get a small bottle, maybe a bottle like this here. This may still have a place for label, but there's another one which does not have label, and the label is all wavy there. That's not looking good. You should have a straight place there for a label. Somebody wants it to become a seal, then you need to design it like that. You cannot first make the package and then say, okay, design a label which will also act like a seal. So these are things that you need to have in mind before you design a product. You have to have the necessary information for the user on the label. And while designing the label, you have to create the space for it. And the statutory information, which is mandatory, has again to be put in. On that small label, you have to put in everything what is necessary. And the decoration, depending on the target audience. You are making a product for children, you cannot design it like a pharma product. And the shape of the label has to complement the package. You cannot have a round package and put a square label on it. The material of the label again has to be conforming to the usage. You have a shampoo bottle which is lying in the shower, it's going through heat, steam, moisture, everything. And then it's squeezed continuously. The label has to stretch and come back to its shape. We have to select a product for the substrate that is compatible with the bottle, and it will contract and come back to its shape again, otherwise you have wrinkles all over. Overprinting is a sore spot, but sometimes mandatory. So when you are designing, you create a space. You have to look forward that there is going to be some overprinting. Where are you going to print it? That has to be taken care of. Label dispensing needs, extremely important. You are making a package, you are looking at only the user. Look at the guy at the shop floor. When they are dispensing the label onto the product, if the label design restricts the speed, that means the design is faulty. Though it may be very good for the end user, for the consumer, but this also has to be considered, that the label has to be dispensed at the full speed. Adhesive selection. You have the substrate going as a label, you have the product there, they have to come together and they have to stay the same way throughout the lifespan. You have a product line in your washroom, you have gas coming there, and the product has a bad label there coming off, peeling off from the sides, you get bad publicity. Security features, this have to be incorporated. It's a lengthy subject. I would not dwell on it because it takes a lot of time. But here, to put in security features, you need to have a very, very apt and capable vendor. His equipment has to be updated. They have to have a combination of things on their press so that they can make labels according to what you desire. And personalized label. The next slide will tell you what a personalized label can be. See, Coca-Cola did this with the advent of digital printing. They took some common names and put on the bottles. Now, you could Mark, Chris, or George, Tony. In India, probably you could have a show, Ramesh, Suresh, or even Anil. And if Anil, go to Anil's house and you have bottles of Coke with Anil written on it, I would probably think Coke did a job for him. Look at this, what a fantastic innovation it is. You remove the label from the other side and you use it like a bottle, squeeze out the ketchup onto your plate. But if you have more than 3 or 4 guests at home, you just peel off the label from the other side and use it like a dip. Now here I got a sample of this also with me. This is a disposable syringe design, which has a label designed by Schreiner Medifarm in Germany, and their agent is out here. He's displayed these syringes there also. The label has a plastic strap along with it. I've seen this label being made in Germany directly. Now, what happens is when you've used the syringe once and you've taken out, it could infect anybody it touches, anybody it scratches. So what they do is this plastic trap, they bring it back up here and they break the needle onto it. It traps the needle. Needle will not come out anyhow, and then it goes for recycling. It will not infect anybody. Now these two, just last few slides. The black label that you see there, it's on a gas cylinder. It gives you the temperature. It's a safety thing. You could use it as a thermometer for kids. And the next label, I mean, when I saw this, I didn't realize what it was. It's a very nice thing, but it's a wine label. It's a wine label, but for the blind. Even they enjoy their drink, and the wine lovers, Anil will tell you, they want to know what wine, where it came from, and the next slide will tell you what they want. See, they want a book on the bottle. So they want to read where it came from, what was the terrain, and where. I think I'll leave with your wine now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your very interesting presentation. As someone from ITC, till some years back, we used to believe that Ashirwad Atta, sold more in the south, and north was still highly Chakki territory. So it's good to know from a true blue Punjabi like you that yes, dispense the Chakki Atta and now are buying Ashirwad. But I think Mr. Sahni was able to bring about all the interconnected aspects of how labels connect with consumers and how they have to be designed around the product, and the dual functions which labels are servicing. So during the panel discussion, I think we can expound a little bit more on the likeness label printing. Now there's always a man in between. So we have had Oriflame as a brand owner, and then we have had Ms. Harveer Sahni as a vendor of labeling equipment. And now I'll introduce you Mr. Sandeep Bhargava of Kumar Printers, who are one of the most reputed packaging converters in North India. Sandeep is a graduate from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and he now is a director in Kumar Printers, and he adds the knowledge to value-added paperboard packaging, mostly with special print finishing effects and innovative designs, with more than 24 years experience in the industry. I'll ask now Sandeep to share his experience.
Okay, good afternoon.
I think I'm going to give all of you a breather from the powerful presentations here, and I'm going to just speak like a normal person. We have had a lot of technical information, very nice presentations. So I think I'll sort of fill the gap like a normal, ordinary person and talk to you one-to-one, and maybe later on we can discuss some more. In the words of Stephen R. Covey, the author of the famous book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he mentions one particular habit which says, if you want to end well, begin with the end in mind. And this I find is very apt for the packaging design as well. If you are going to design a particular label or a container or a carton, whatever, we need to first analyze and think about what we want the product, the pack to achieve. In my opinion, our packs will be more effective if we design the packaging keeping the end in mind. If we look at the end result, the end can be, when we think of a corrugated box, if you want the end to be a corrugated box, if you want the end to be a pallet, if you want the end to be a container, if you want for the end to be, maybe if you look beyond the life cycle of the product, how it's going to be recycled. In a lot of countries, people start with the size of the pallet. If they want to, go on making a tertiary pack, then they go on to make a secondary pack and a primary pack in that order. They reverse engineer the packaging to suit the pallet, if that's how they're going to handle it. Having said that, keeping the end in mind, we also need to take care of the functional demands of the components at each stage of the value chain. We have the primary packaging, secondary packaging, and tertiary packaging. And each of these different levels, we have a very divergent and crucial role for each type of pack. A primary pack will have a different role. It will protect the product. A tertiary pack may be a dispenser, which projects the product to the customer. And a tertiary pack will be a one which carries the secondary pack right till the supermarket or whatever. If we capture and define all the relevant parameters for all of these packs, whether it's primary, secondary, and tertiary, to start with, we will be more effective, we will save a lot of money, and also we'll be highly effective. By relevant parameters, I mean the parameters which you need to measure and not what you can measure. For example, if you look at a corrugated box, most of the time we end up measuring the burst factor or the GSM of the paper which is used for making the box, when in fact what we should be measuring is the compression strength. But why we end up measuring the GSM or the BF is probably that we have only those measuring instruments in-house. They are probably the cheapest available, and they give you some sort of satisfaction that you've done some testing on the pack. We need to move away from that mindset and try to understand what can, how you can measure the effectiveness of the package by coming down to more relevant, measuring points. If I look at paperboard packaging, traditionally everybody has been measuring GSM. That's what people use for buying the paperboard, and that's what the converter uses for measuring, and that's what the customer also uses for measuring. That's probably because the GSM tester is the cheapest of all the testing equipment that you have. When in fact we should be measuring the stiffness of the paperboard to have a correct measure of the functional parameter of the packaging. Finally, we need to make sure that the various components whether it's the primary component or the tertiary component or the secondary component, they come together and fit harmoniously together and work as a system, what Mr. Venkataraman also said. And unless they sit together and work as a system and deliver what the packaging is supposed to do for the end consumer, it is a failed pack. I have myself come across a lot of situations in which the specifications have been well laid out, everything is very nicely communicated, the pack is made as per the specifications, but when the packaging actually gets used, it doesn't work. Why? Because most of the time the end use or the end result has not been thought through. If you think through the entire supply chain, you envisage the at each stage what the packaging is going to go through, and then design the parameters accordingly, I'm sure all of us will save a lot of money and also a lot of headache. I think I'll leave you with that thought, and we can take it up later on with the question answer session. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep, for bringing us back on track with systems thinking and how things have to relate to each other, which is the main topic for this session. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mr. H.S. Arun, Senior Solutions Expert of Esko Graphics India. So somebody has to tie all these things together, and Esko are the people into workflow and graphic design, and I think Arun will be able to try and tie up all the threads together so that we round off this session and follow it up with a question answer and a discussion session. So Arun started his career in 1996 in pre-press in Bangalore. Over 17 years experience in this industry. He also has an advertising experience with R.K. Swamy BBDO, a studio and production assistant, and he set up their in-house design and artwork preparation team and trained them. He was also responsible for coordination and executing the print jobs. He worked at Euro RSCG for a short period as studio manager and joined Esko in 2004 as application engineer. So his role and responsibility was installation, training, technical support and troubleshooting for Esko's customer in South Asia, South Korea and Southeast Asia. Arun has carried very many implementations at large packaging converters, media houses and FMCG companies. He specializes in pre-press solutions for offset, flexography and gravure printing, and has great expertise in design and development of workflow automation using sophisticated Esko's tools and implementation. He is currently a solutions expert involved in various global activities with brand owners, system integration projects, web approval systems and customization. So over to Mr. Arun, the integrator.
So where does packaging starts? Where actually packaging starts? Packaging is all about shape and structure. This is where it starts. So, irrespective of the product, it needs a packaging shape. Adding to that, you apply graphics and materials and graphics. It may not necessarily very high-res graphics or the very colorful graphics, but the graphics which goes along with the packaging shape. As you look at the picture, this is really a jungle. There are a lot of products out there. If I have to go for my regular shopping, weekend shopping, it's a challenge. There are abundance choices to buy a product. The bigger challenge is for the brand owners or the product owners to imbibe the consumer, to attract the consumer to buy their products or shelf shop. So when you look at the consumer behavior, it takes about 5 seconds to make a choice.
for a consumer, the product or the packaging should attract the consumer and imbibe him or her to buy the product. Typically, the study shows 25% of the shopping is unplanned. It's a big challenge for any product companies, any CPG companies. At the same time, the color which attracts, and then the text and the logo which invites the consumer to buy that product. As I said earlier, it's about 5 seconds. So the recent trend is the brand owners are spending much more on the packaging, which is the ultimate salesman on the shelf. Whatever, irrespective of whatever marketing you do, indoor and outdoor or by TV and advertisements, end of the day, it is on the shelf, the package needs to be sold. So packaging is the brand's key communication tool for any product. So packaging, not just about the shape and color, it also has many other roles to play. So it has to carry the product information. So what is this product all about? What does the packaging contains inside this? And the usage occasions, like if you take example of milk inside a Tetra Pak, it should not spill over. So those are the key information it has to carry. And most importantly, the brand image, which is very important for the brand identification. And finally, it has to be in the right product category or the product code. You cannot have a milk and shampoo in the same bottle shape. Just imagine what happens. The milk and shampoo is also in the same product category. So if you look at this image, does anybody buy a car looking at this? Or say for example, if you want to do a prototype, physical prototype of this car, it's a challenge. Then why packaging? Why can't the packaging start with a 3D? So first moment of truth, at the design stage, when you include the 3D or when you start bringing in the 3D at the design stage, which adds a lot more value than going back and forth with the prototyping. So if I take a look at holistic approach, so what does packaging contain? The specifications, how the product, what is the product, the structural design to host the product, the guidelines, the brand identifications, the substrate, materials, colors, and you also end up with doing samples, proofs, markups, and later on people think about the distribution and how it goes into the retail space. So if you look at the design and concept, it comes at very later stage. What if that is moved at the very initial stage of design? When you bring in CAD graphics along with the product together, it saves a lot of time, the material wastage, and the amount or the resource involved in making those prototypes. It doesn't stop there. If you take much more of holistic approach or deep dive into what are the other components of the packaging, be it the stand, the in-store displays, or the multiple parts, or the point of sales, and taking another step way ahead, how does it look on the retail shelf, the virtual retail shelf? When it is kept in isolation, the product may look good, but not necessarily when you have the product sitting next to a competitive product. So just going a bit deeper into the product development, So when the product is conceptualized, so at the same time when the packaging starts, when you start building the packaging around the product, it makes life much easier and also to calculate or to evolve what is the right size packaging. So in this example, if you look at these binoculars, so this may need the protection inside, the fitments to hold the binoculars, and also packaging around it, the right size packaging around it. So this becomes the primary packaging. So then moving forward, you would like to have secondary packaging. At the same time, involve the shipping efficiency, how effectively this product can be shipped with minimal wastage, with the maximum shipments. So when you have this complete supply chain integrated from the product till it goes to the shelf, so a designer or the brand owner knows how effectively the product can be shipped with minimal changes to the size of the product or the packaging. And once it comes to the graphics, the same structural asset goes to the graphic designer, where he takes the informed decision how the packaging would look like while working on two-dimensional design, interacting with the three-dimensional view, and cut down the number of physical proofs with the virtual print simulation. So you simulate the product, the print finishes in the virtual store environment. So having all those materials, specifications, inks, and etc. applied to it, then you take it to the next level, which is putting the product in the virtual store, which helps in identifying the shelf shout of the product. How does the product or the packaging stands out in between the competition? So this is about from the conceptualization stage till it goes to the shelf, how you include all the stakeholders within the supply chain. So now comes innovation. So one of the innovation is from Absolute Vodka, which they said batch size is equal to 1. What does that mean? Each bottle of 4 million is unique. So this was launched sometime in September 2012. Let's see how it has been done.
No, sir.
Movie cannot do it, excuse me. It's a better. It's a better. Yes. Yeah, it's the last one. So, fine. Sorry, I cannot show the movie. Again, technical advantages and disadvantages. That's about it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks Arun. So there are always dangers in the pack design and supply chain environment, so you can have glitches like this. But I think it did manage to convey the point. So now the session is open, and I would like to invite questions from the audience to our panelists.
question for you. It's a unique, each one bottle is unique for vodka. How does it attract the vodka lovers?
It is it is the way how the bottle is painted using the machines. The algorithm is developed in such a way, the machine is meant for standardizing the bottle, filling and as well as painting it. They change the algorithm. Every bottle, there was host of paints which they have kept. Every bottle was sprayed based on the algorithm. The nozzles used to shift up and down. So that's how every bottle, all the 4 million bottles were completely different to one another, with be it small or big. It was driven by the machine and the application.
The vodka,
It was uniquely, yeah.
Each bottle contains the same material.
Yeah, vodka is same, but the packaging is different. Packaging is unique. The coating what they have done, the coloring what they have given was completely unique, and it was labeled and numbered uniquely.
Or is he takes it for granted that different vodka is going?
No, it is not the different vodka. That was not the marketing.
I think
concept.
some of it is related to, I don't know how much of vodka drinkers are here,
Yeah.
but Absolute Vodka is known for a bit of its quirky advertising and attracting the consumer.
Consumers, yeah.
Okay, so this fitted in with their philosophy in promotion.
Promotion,
I think
yeah.
that's the answer.
It's more of a product promotion than the vodka.
They run that risk, I think.
They run the risk.
They run that risk. But Absolute is known for...
It is very common in pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
If a spurious drug is caught, they say that this is not been manufactured in our factory. You can compare the bottle and there is some difference in bottle, some difference in label. That's how they get out of it.
Correct.
So it
it
runs the risk. Huh?
It runs the risk.
I am also sure that Absolute did it for a very limited period in some country where they wanted more user trials or vodka drinking to increase.
Correct.
It wouldn't be part of the regular brand promotion or
It's not
sales
regular.
program.
I have one question for Mr. Singh. No, it's not a question, it is an innovation, Under the food laws, even if you have a candy, small candy, it has to have all the information about ingredients, nutritional aspects, hazards, and traceability, barcode and all that. So for a small candy to design a label is a really challenge, and that is what all the manufacturers are looking for. So it could be a challenge for you. You could come out with some design and we could promote it. Huh?
I think we'll once again. You say, how do we get all the information into the small?
Under the new
table
it is mandatory, whatever food product, even if it's a small candy, it has to have all the information, like the ingredients, all the ingredients, nutritional composition, barcode, and everything. So smaller the label, then even if it is there, then somebody has to use a binocular, how to read it.
Yeah,
but the laws are funny.
But if the law is mandatory and the information is mandatory, they will have to put it. But I guess there may be certain amount of exemptions because there's bigger the immediate primary packaging. They might get an exemption on that only. But when you buy it like a piece, like a pack of 10. So they will probably put it on that.
We are fighting.
Sorry, if I just add on the top of that, recently peel-off label, booklet label and master peel-off label is the part of the new development
which coming very much on the top of the container. Not only top of the container, people are putting on the top of the tube. If you have a tube, you have a very small area for the printing. On the top of the tube, that printing substrate, you can put the labels, which is the peel-off label, and print both sides. And ultimately, it helps to put as maximum as information you want to put on the label. If you are putting any laminated bag on the top of the bag, you can go for the peel-off label, you can go for the booklet label. Especially Oriflame is the company which uses, I just want to highlight, Oriflame is the company which using 13 languages on the label and a single version of the component used in the worldwide. And that's why we are using maximum this multi-label peel-off label on the top of the tubes.
Okay, Sandeep, would you be able to add anything from your example with food companies as to whether the secondary package should contain all the labeling, nutrition information for regulations or even the primary package?
Usually the smaller pack would go in a wholesale pack, and many times you have a flexibility of putting more information on the wholesale pack, and if the information is sought by the user, he can refer to the wholesale pack and get it. It's the same in, for the smaller pack it's very difficult. Some information, the legal information has to be there. You can't get away from that. The regulatory information has to be there. There's no way out of that. It's a legal requirement.
Yeah, it is a problem. But in certain industries like cosmetics, we have exemptions up to about 30 ml bag or something. Certain of the information need not be included, like all the ingredients need not be listed there. So there are some exemptions. So like he said, when he represents to the government and explains the reason, maybe they will relent. But once they say it has to be there, it has to be there. How do you do it? That's what he is saying. We have to find a design solution to it. Basically, how do we do it? And I don't know whether the peel-off thing is also applicable, because they say the information has to remain on the primary packaging during its usage. It's not that somebody is buying a package and just that gets peeled off, like it is put on a shrink wrap, and once the shrink wrap is removed, the information goes. I don't think that is legal.
It should be on the top of the primary pack. Just for example, I tell you, we have nail polish which is 8 gram.
Right.
And on the nail polish, if you want to declare 13 languages, very difficult. So any surface, either front or back, we are putting a label with the 6 ply and which covering the 13 languages, which valid for the all over the world.
Yeah.
And primary pack, this bottle considered as a primary pack. If you are talking about the candy first pack, which is coming as a wrap, is the primary pack.
That will be the primary.
And you have to put that one on the top of the wrap.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I agree.
Thank you, sir, for that. More questions, please, from the back.
How we can use stone paper, because generally it's not available in the market.
Currently in India it's not available, but yes, source is available from the China. Currently few companies or few customers using this paper in India as like replacement of map litho paper for the leaflets. But in bulk volume, you can say till now not used in India. Few guys using for the map litho paper replacement. So it could be the future of the packaging, innovation for the future.
How we can develop it in India?
We have to set up the new plant, and we can. People with the technology who had patented this technology developed from the Nigerian guys, they are ready to invest. If someone ready to invest money here in India, set up the new factory.
There is a company in Bombay who are agents for that Chinese company, and they stock it.
Agents are there who is doing the stock part, but if talking about the how we can implement here in India, the point is to just make a tie-up and set up a new factory. It could be future, not now.
They really matter to people, and they are very much attracted about this one. But stone paper is very much new for us. So is there any chemical composition or anything
deviation from the map litho paper?
If in terms of the technology, if you are talking, yes, stiffness is high. You can't break it easily, but it's a positive sense. In terms of the material, if you are talking, its thickness is lesser than the map litho paper.
And what about machinability point of view? I mean,
till now, as per my best knowledge, no problem. Okay, normal offset printers are printing on the top of that film, that paper. That means it's not creating a problem.
And what will be the minimum grammage we can use for this paper, stone paper? I mean, any limitation is there?
We have to go in detail whatever the different substrates available.
Okay.
It's available from the, I believe, 16 micron till the high thickness, because it's not only replacing to paper, it's replacing to paper and the film. For thermoforming, if you see the picture, another thermoforming and the carry bag and all this replaced by that stone paper. So it's very a big range from 16 micron to the very big.
Actually, we are thinking about, I mean, the replacement of stone map litho paper which we are using. I mean, from our pan masala.
I can just only talk for the technology. You have to coordinate with the supplier who can supply to you.
No. I'm just want to know about, because I'm very much curious about this. I mean, this new stone paper. I mean, this is first time I've heard the stone paper. So that's why I'm very much curious about this one. So how can, I mean, I just relate with my product. If we are using paper foil laminate, so this paper can be used for paper foil laminate structure in our product.
Foiling and the metalizations, that things we have to check they have that ready facility or ready substrate availability or not, because metalizations on the top of this substrate they had done till now not, that's the question mark. But yes, for the normal printing and other, they have that material.
What he's talking about is
replacement of.
I think what you're talking about is creating a laminate of stone paper with the foil.
With foil, yeah.
With foil, what you use for your
pan
masala and Gutka packaging.
Right.
No, there is foil. Aluminium foil is there, yes. Aluminium foil is there.
Because foil we are using just for, I mean, barrier.
Yes, so
and we do lacquering for heat sealing. So, I mean, is stone paper compatible with the foil laminate or flexible in nature? We can go for this.
It's fine. I've seen the samples. We've tried to use it. It looks like a normal paper.
Okay.
Only it's more like a synthetic paper. You can't tear it. And in fact, what grammages we got from the supplier, he said we cannot go below 90. Then you can actually do away with the liner. There are a couple of processes I can explain. One way is you siliconize the front side and you print on the back side, and there's no liner then. Only thing is you may not be able to die cut. Now that was one way. Now the other way is you've done this and you die cut it on a liner and then you dispense it on another liner which is reusing it. That's another way of doing it. So the first way, no liner. The last Label Expo, Ritrama exhibited, and what was exhibited was that they had this release liner. Normally what you do is you print on a 50 micron film. So they had this 25 micron film and a 12 micron liner, and after printing they removed the liner and they pasted it back on, laminated on top. So it becomes like a laminate, and still 25 and 12 make 37. So they've gone down even on the face paper. So there's no liner left. So they dispense it. It's a clear label. Since it's a clear label, you don't need to die cut, because the printed part they print with white and then with the colors. So it looks like a die cut label, because the rest of it is like a no label label. So there's no liner there. And even the plastic has come down, means the filmic part which was 50 micron has come to 37 micron. So there are things like that going on where there is no liner at all. Because ETI makes that equipment, we sell that equipment. that you siliconize one side, you print the other side, you adhesive coat it, and you take it as a laminate, and then you die cut it, or you just cut it and paste it on. That's it.
Sahni sir, from the decoration, packaging decoration industry point of view, you were to the labeling industry. Where do you think that in-mold labeling would be taking over the packaging decoration in a big way?
I don't think in-mold labeling will take over the pressure-sensitive labeling. What is a challenge for pressure-sensitive labeling is, I think shrink sleeve did provide a big challenge to that, but in the future what I see is that digital printing onto the products is going to be the biggest challenge that we will face, because that will be a challenge to print itself. Like what has happened to commercial printing. See, today commercial printers are forced to think about packaging because of internet. And because of this, if you start printing the label directly onto the bottle, without any substrate, without anything, no paper, nothing, just print ink onto the bottle, that's it, and you can print any number of colors there. That is the biggest challenge that will come.
Any more question, please?
क्वेश्चन पे मत आ, क्वेश्चन पे वो अपने आप आएगा।
Hello sir, firstly I will thank you for having a wonderful present from you all businessmen. And I have a question here, like in this marketing world we have packaging, and I would like to question like why we are more focusing on packaging. It is like because the consumer goods business people are starting building like what the good is inside the packaging, what will feed the business, or not business, the consumer would not able to feed much to the consumer so as to sustain his business, to grow, so to focus on packaging. Is it like that?
Amitabh, as a major brand company, would you like to answer between packaging and...
No, it's not like that. In different industry, if you talk about the pharma, food or cosmetic, everywhere packaging importance is something different. Product, if you want to deliver till the end consumer, we have to protect from the environment, keep it remain with the all property till the end consumer. Purpose of the packaging is not only to decorate and make customer more attractive. Yes, it is there in the cosmetic sector, but if you talk about the pharma, on that place most important is materials should be remain with the good property till the last consumer. If we are making a very good product here in our factory and get ready with the product, could be we can use for the couple of within a couple of radius. But if you want to sold out that product in the long radius in the world and somewhere, then packaging is one most important thing which play a role to sold out or deliver that product to the customer. Right?
One point, or rather 2 points I would like to mention. One is in this Interpack we saw a lot of the interactive labels. I don't know whether Mr. Sahni can throw a little more light on that, but they were definitely on display. And second point was talking about people, which came out in the first presentation, packaging and its relation to people. I was doing a survey of the liquor industry in India, and it's absolutely amazing. Like state to state, one is due to statutory considerations, but the other is due to buyer behavior. The SKUs of the packaging change completely. Like in Tamil Nadu, the wives don't allow the husbands to drink at home. So the 180 ml sells the most because they finish it in the shop and then they come home. In Kerala, they take it home, so it's 750 ml. Okay, so the SKU is so different between Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Tamil Nadu has switched to brandy from whiskey for some reason nobody seems to understand. And in Punjab they are still on whiskey. So, you know, the product, in Punjab they probably want 1 liter, 2 liters. So, you know, state to state, the SKUs, the type of drink which is being sold, and in some they will use RSPP closures, in some they will use only the guala cap, because without the guala cap they will not even buy. And in terms of the cartons, if you see, you know, one is because they want to make it tamper-proof, so they make it more and more complicated. They'll emboss it, they'll do all sorts of things on the carton. And they want to show Indian-made foreign liquor as foreign. So even the smaller regional brands will go with very fancy labels, very fancy cartons, and very fancy glass bottles as well. Some states don't allow PET, but other states allow. So in some states there are PET bottles. Karnataka peculiarly has taken a liking to stand-up pouches. There are a lot of machines producing liquor in stand-up pouches. So it's absolutely fascinating how it varies state to state, season to season, and liquor to liquor. Now, I want to ask the Oriflame gentleman, have you faced this problem in India state-wise, or do you see similar behavior? So one is to Mr. Sahni on the interactive label, and one is to you on the state-wise behavior.
Amitabh, you can handle the question and then you will.
Okay, fine. You are talking about the India, this only states, whatever the different north to south and south to east to west. We are not facing problem up to that level. We are facing problem because we always try to put the product as the global standard, and one product could be sold out in the world. And especially if you are talking about the color cosmetics, where you are talking about the different color, different choice, it's really a big challenge. And for just information, recently we had launched 36 new color in the different current nail polish and lipstick and other here in India to cater different type of customer. If you see the young generation, especially in the cosmetics, young generation from the college life, their choice could be different. If you talk about the mature ladies and something in the professional way, their color choice will be different. It's a big challenge, but ultimately it comes out from the survey what best can do and what the optimum line of action SKUs we can produce here. Because if we have the 300 different color, we can't go for 300 pack. We try to optimize and bring out with the optimum choice which can going to cater with the different all category. But yes, it's a big challenge. Choice is a big challenge.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sandeep, on the interactive link.
Honestly, I did not go to the interpack, so what exactly was the question?
Okay, actually, yeah, there are a lot of labels where, you know, the barcodes you can sense with your mobile, you can scan.
Okay.
And then it either gives you the entire history of the product, or it can give you some type of music which is appropriate to the occasion, or it can give you some kind of a number by which you can make sure that this is a genuine article. All sorts of things are there.
I think you were there in Ahmedabad when Mr. Naidu of Cyclop did a demo on this, and this is available here. You have a 3D barcode there, and you just take a picture and you get a feedback immediately saying what it was, where it was produced. Even it can even give you can have, instead of your business card, you can just have a barcode there. Somebody takes a picture of it and all the detail goes. Who you are, what is your designation, what is your company, yes.
So it's available in India.
It's available in India.
It's already there. It's
Thank you.
the quick response score.
I think that could be the last question, unless there was a pressing one.
Just adding on, these 2D barcodes are to some extent appeared on our pharmaceutical packs. If you add color, it becomes 3D, and it can also become 4D. And say